Imagine this. You wake up. Before your feet even touch the floor, you've already checked your phone. A few notifications, a couple of Instagram reels, one YouTube short, a quick glance at TikTok, maybe some messages. Nothing unusual. In fact, that's exactly what millions of people do every single morning. But what if I told you that before you've even brushed your teeth, you've already trained your brain to expect more stimulation than your ancestors experienced in an entire day? And that's exactly why reading feels boring, studying feels painful, work feels exhausting, and staying focused for more than 10 minutes feels almost impossible. The problem isn't that you're lazy. The problem isn't that you lack discipline. The problem is that your brain has become addicted to easy rewards. Today, we're going to explore the science of dopamine, not the fake internet version, the real neuroscience. We'll look at groundbreaking experiments, shocking research findings, and practical strategies that can literally retrain your brain to enjoy hard work again. Because once you understand how dopamine actually works, you'll realize something most people never do. The goal isn't to eliminate dopamine. The goal is to stop wasting it. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The biggest lie about dopamine. Most people think dopamine is the chemical of pleasure, but neuroscientists have discovered something much more interesting. Dopamine is actually the chemical of anticipation. It's what makes you want things. It's what drives motivation. It's what pushes humans to hunt, explore, build, invent, and achieve. Without dopamine, you'd have no desire to do anything. And we know this because scientists have observed patients suffering from conditions that damage dopamine systems. Many of them don't lose intelligence. They don't lose knowledge. What they lose is the drive to act. They know what they should do. They simply can't find the motivation. This tells us something important. Dopamine isn't about happiness. It's about pursuit. And modern technology has figured out how to hijack that pursuit better than anything in human history. Think about social media. You never know what the next swipe will reveal. A funny video, a shocking story, a message from someone you like, or absolutely nothing. That uncertainty is exactly what makes it addictive. And nobody understood this better than a neuroscientist named Wolfram Schultz. His experiments would completely change our understanding of human behavior. Chapter 2. The monkey experiment that explains social media. In the 1990s, neuroscientist Wolfram Schultz conducted a series of experiments on monkeys. At first, the monkeys received fruit juice unexpectedly, and every time they got the reward, dopamine neurons fired intensely. Nothing surprising there. But then something fascinating happened. The scientist introduced a signal, a simple light. Every time the light appeared, the juice arrived shortly afterward. Eventually, the monkeys learned the pattern, and suddenly, dopamine stopped spiking when the juice arrived. Instead, dopamine spiked when the light appeared. The reward hadn't changed, but the anticipation had. Then came the most important discovery. Sometimes the light appeared, but the juice never arrived. And dopamine activity actually dropped below normal. The monkeys experienced disappointment. Researchers called this phenomenon reward prediction error. In simple terms, your brain constantly predicts rewards. When reality exceeds expectations, dopamine rises. When reality matches expectations, dopamine stays stable. When reality falls short, dopamine crashes. Now think about social media. Every notification, every message, every like, every swipe is essentially a digital version of Schultz's experiment. You keep checking because your brain hopes the next reward will be better than expected, and every once in a while it is, which reinforces the behavior. This is why people can spend 3 hours scrolling without realizing it, not because they're weak, because some of the smartest engineers on Earth are exploiting reward prediction systems that evolved over millions of years. And that's where the real problem begins. Because most people aren't just consuming one reward, they're stacking them. Chapter 3. Dopamine stacking is destroying your attention span. Let's say you're watching Netflix. That's already stimulation. Now add chips. More stimulation. Now check Instagram. Even more stimulation. Now respond to messages. Even more. Now listen to music. Even more. What you've created is something called dopamine stacking. Multiple reward systems firing simultaneously. Your brain adapts because that's what brains do. When exposed to constant stimulation, your nervous system raises its threshold. The result? Normal activities start feeling unbearably boring. Reading a textbook, writing an essay, learning a language, practicing coding, working out. All of them feel underwhelming compared to the dopamine fireworks your brain has become accustomed to. Imagine living next to an airport. At first, the sound is overwhelming, but eventually you stop noticing it. The brain adapts. The same thing happens with stimulation. The more dopamine you bombard yourself with, the more your brain requires just to feel normal. This explains why someone can watch 10 hours of content but struggle to read 10 pages of a book. The issue isn't intelligence. The issue is sensitivity. And the solution begins with something that sounds uncomfortable. Boredom. Yes, the thing we've spent our entire lives trying to avoid. Because boredom might actually be the secret weapon your brain desperately needs. Part 2. Chapter 4. The surprising power of boredom. Let's do a quick experiment. The next time you're waiting in line, sitting on a bus, waiting for a friend, or simply lying on your bed, don't touch your phone. Just sit there. Sounds easy, right? Most people can't do it for more than a few minutes.
Almost immediately, they'll feel an urge, a pull, a craving. Something inside them starts screaming, check something, open an app, watch a video, do anything except sit here. That feeling is exactly what modern technology has trained into us. We've become so accustomed to constant stimulation that silence feels uncomfortable. But here's the irony. The greatest thinkers in history spent enormous amounts of time being bored. Albert Einstein often took long walks alone. Nikola Tesla spent hours thinking in silence. Many breakthrough ideas emerged not during intense stimulation, but during periods of reflection. Scientists studying the brain discovered something fascinating. When your mind is not focused on external stimulation, a network called the default mode network becomes active. This network is heavily involved in creativity, self-reflection, long-term planning, problem-solving. In other words, the moments we call boring are often the moments when the brain performs its deepest work. But modern life rarely allows us to enter that state. The second boredom appears, we escape it. And by escaping boredom, we may be escaping creativity itself. Chapter 5. The Marshmallow Experiment everyone talks about. In the late 1960s, psychologist Walter Mischel conducted one of the most famous experiments in history. Children were brought into a room. A marshmallow was placed on a table. Then they were given a choice. Eat one marshmallow now, or wait 15 minutes and receive 2 marshmallows instead. Simple. But what happened next became legendary. Some children ate the marshmallow almost immediately. Others covered their eyes. Some turned away. Some sang songs to distract themselves. And a few managed to wait. Years later, researchers followed many of these children into adulthood. The children who delayed gratification generally performed better in several areas of life. They tended to demonstrate stronger self-control and better long-term planning. But here's the part most people never hear. A later study from the University of Rochester revealed something critical. The environment matters. Researchers discovered that children waited much longer when they believed adults would keep their promises. When promises had previously been broken, children stopped waiting. Why? Because delaying gratification only makes sense when you trust the future. Think about that. Self-control isn't only about willpower. It's also about confidence that future rewards are worth waiting for. This changes everything, because now the question becomes, how do we teach our brains to trust delayed rewards again? The answer is surprisingly simple. You earn them. Chapter 6. Earned dopamine versus cheap dopamine. Imagine 2 people. Person A wakes up and immediately starts scrolling. Within minutes, they've consumed social media, news, memes, videos, all before doing anything productive. Person B wakes up, exercises, studies, works on a project, then enjoys entertainment afterward. Both experience dopamine. But the source was different. One received dopamine before effort. The other received dopamine after effort. And that difference changes behavior dramatically. The brain constantly asks, what behavior produced this reward? If rewards arrive before effort, motivation weakens. If rewards arrive after effort, motivation strengthens. This is why elite performers often build reward systems. Athletes train before celebrating. Entrepreneurs complete difficult projects before vacations. Writers finish chapters before entertainment. They're not avoiding pleasure. They're sequencing it correctly. The formula is simple. Effort, reward. Not reward, maybe effort. And this is where most people sabotage themselves. They consume all the motivation before the work even begins. Chapter 7. The High Effort Advantage. Let's compare two dopamine sources. The first, a viral short video. Duration 15 seconds. Effort required almost zero. Reward immediate. The second, learning a valuable skill. Duration months or years. Effort required high. Reward delayed. At first glance, the short video seems more attractive, and that's exactly why it's dangerous, because the brain starts preferring easy rewards over meaningful rewards. Yet every extraordinary achievement in human history followed the opposite path. Olympic athletes, successful entrepreneurs, elite scientists, world-class musicians. None of them became successful through constant entertainment. They became successful through repeated exposure to difficulty. They learned to associate satisfaction with progress rather than stimulation. The reward wasn't the shortcut. The reward was becoming better. And that's the mindset shift that changes lives. Instead of asking, what feels good right now, ask, what creates the best future version of me? One question builds comfort. The other builds greatness. Chapter 8. The 7-Day Dopamine Reset Protocol. If you want to reset your relationship with dopamine, start here. Day 1. Remove notifications from non-essential apps. Day 2. No phone during meals. Day 3. Take a 30-minute walk without music or podcasts. Day 4. Complete 1 hour of focused work before any entertainment. Day 5. Avoid short-form content for an entire day. Day 6. Spend 1 hour learning a valuable skill. Day 7. Reflect on what activities genuinely improved your mood versus simply distracted you. Don't aim for perfection. Aim for awareness. The goal isn't to become a monk. The goal is to stop letting algorithms decide where your attention goes. Because attention is life. Whatever receives your attention eventually shapes your future. Here's the truth. Your brain isn't broken. Your motivation isn't gone.
Your focus hasn't disappeared. It's been buried under years of hyperstimulation. And the good news is that what was trained can be retrained. Every time you resist an unnecessary distraction, every time you choose effort before reward, every time you embrace boredom instead of escaping it, you are rebuilding something incredibly valuable. Your ability to focus, your ability to create, your ability to pursue meaningful goals. The modern world wants your attention. Every app, every platform, every notification, every advertisement. They're all competing for the most valuable asset you possess, your mind. The people who win in the next decade won't necessarily be the smartest. They'll be the people who can focus when everyone else is distracted. The people who can delay gratification when everyone else wants instant rewards. The people who can sit with discomfort long enough to build something extraordinary. So the next time you feel the urge to grab your phone, pause. Ask yourself one question. Am I consuming dopamine or am I earning it? Because that single question might change the trajectory of your entire life. If you found this valuable, remember, your future is built by what you repeatedly pay attention to. Choose wisely.